Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to leverage Wish.com to find winning products for sourcing and dropshipping. Wish.com is a multi-million-dollar company that sells products from China. This is ideal because most of their products can also be found on AliExpress because products on AliExpress are also from China. So that is why I oftentimes recommend Wish.com. And to get to Wish.com's more best-selling items, there's a couple ways to do it. I've written instructions here, but I'm going to show you in a walkthrough right now. So if you go to Wish.com, it should look something like this. It's very simple. It's just a page full of products, not many buttons at the top. What you're going to do is you're going to go over here and click More, and there's a drop down of all these different departments. Now, most of these products, most of these kind of categories or departments kind of lean on the side of fashion, and that's okay. If you're selling something that's very off these departments, then you could just skip this strategy. But if you're selling some products that kind of match these categories, then just click whatever matches. So for example, let's say I'm selling watches and I click watches. You can go here, and then once you get here, what you're going to do is you're simply going to look at the products that are the highest selling. Unfortunately, you can't really filter them or order them, but if you just take a quick scroll through the website, you could get a good feeling of what's selling a lot. So for example, this product has been bought 100 times, this product has been bought 10,000 times. This product has been bought 20,000 times. So is this one. So as you can see, as you progress through it, although a lot of these watches look exactly the same to me, some are obviously more beneficial to sell than other ones. And you know, the evidence is right there. It tells you. It's very straightforward. These watches look like those old Casio watches that I used to have, and by no surprise, there's 20,000 sold. Whereas maybe these two watches, they look good to me, but you'll notice that they don't sell as well. So this just goes to show that you really have to check the numbers as opposed to selling products based off your own passion. So this is just another kind of list of products that I want to make you aware of. Definitely leverage it. All these products can be found on AliExpress in some form or another. Because again, Wish.com sells products from China just like AliExpress. So it helps to know that all these products can be found on AliExpress if you were to look, which is not the same as if you were to look at eBay or Amazon's bestsellers list, because not all of their products are from China. So this makes this website a little bit more ideal in certain ways. I hope you guys enjoyed that and take advantage of it. I'll see you guys on the next video. In this video, I want to teach you guys how to set up your AliExpress.com account. It's pretty straightforward, but I wanted to create the video just in case you were unsure of how to do it. To set up an AliExpress account, you're just going to go to AliExpress.com, which is listed here, and you're going to set up a new account. After you set up your AliExpress.com account, you're going to have to set up a payment method. Because AliExpress.com is a Chinese-oriented website, they take a different form of payment called Alipay. Alipay is a secure form of payment method, so do not worry, it's very, very safe. It's kind of like a PayPal, if you will. And I'm going to show you how to set up both. So first you want to set up your AliExpress account. You're going to go to AliExpress.com, which looks something like this. And you're going to hover your mouse over the top and click Join. Once you click Join, it will ask you to set up an email and a password that is unique to you. You'll click Register. They will send you an email which you have to open to verify your AliExpress.com account. So once you receive that email, which should be sent to you immediately after you click Register, just open up that email and click Verify. Then you can come back here and you will have an account. Once you have an account, go back to AliExpress.com, log in with your new account information and password, then go back to accounts here at the top and go to just click account like that. Once you click account, it should bring you to your personal AliExpress account page. To add a payment method via Alipay.com, You're going to go right here where my mouse is, where it says My Alipay, and then you're going to click Account. All right, and then this pop-up will tell you that you're going to be redirected to another website, and then you're going to click OK. Once you get redirected to another website, and it may ask you to re-log back in with the same credentials, but once you get there, it should look something like this, okay? And all you're going to do is type in your email address, type in this code that you can review here, and then click send confirmation email. Just go through those steps, add a payment method in there, and then you'll be all set up. And again, Alipay is kind of like PayPal. It's just AliExpress's unique payment method. It's very, very secure, don't worry. And once you have your Alipay account set up with your payment method in there and your AliExpress.com account set up, you will be good to go. As a reminder, the way dropshipping works is you're going to find products that you like on AliExpress.com. You're going to add that product to your Shopify store. When someone comes to your store and buys that product, you're going to come back to AliExpress.com, find that exact product, and then you're going to purchase that product from AliExpress.com. And when you check out, you're going to put your customer's address in the shipping address as opposed to your own address. Therefore, AliExpress will then ship that product straight to your customer. And that's the overall concept of how we're going to dropship with AliExpress. We're going to get a lot of support with it though. We have a lot of applications that will make this entire product process a lot faster. I'm talking about like 20 times faster, right? You're not going to actually have to go in and manually input all these addresses or manually search for these products and buy them. But I did want to explain the overall concept so you can understand what we're going to try to do and why it is important that you have an AliExpress account. In the future, when I go over the Dropify app, I'm going to teach you how to do everything I just described, but in a much faster way. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video. Hi, guys. In this video, I want to discuss the guidelines for searching products to dropship from AliExpress. I would recommend all of you follow these guidelines once you found a product or when you're in the process of finding a product, right? You already know what your niche is. You already know, for example, you want to sell iPhone cases. And now you're just trying to find the perfect iPhone. When you're at that step in the process of sourcing products, follow these guidelines. These are guidelines that will help you minimize major challenges later. All right. The less guidelines you follow here, the more challenges you may run into later. So the first guideline for products is making sure that the product has adequate inventory. I know that sounds a bit arbitrary, right? What is the right inventory? I'm going to go over that right now. So adequate inventory is very, very important because if you're so fixated on what the product is, like maybe you find an iPhone case you want to drop ship and sell, and you really, really like the product, but you don't pay attention to the inventory, what's going to happen is you're going to go through all the effort of importing this product and editing this product for your Shopify store so you can sell it. And then that product on AliExpress is going to run out of inventory. And now you're stuck with a product on your Shopify store that has no inventory and it shows that it's sold out. So you just wasted a bunch of time. Your customers visit your website and they can't buy that product. So inventory, very, very important. That is why it's the first thing I want to mention. As a rule of thumb for me, and this guideline is going to be a bit flexible, but for me, generally for retail products, I want to find products on AliExpress that have 2,000 pieces. Pieces is essentially inventory. Retail products, if you don't know what this term means, retail products is, when I say retail products, I mean the products that are always on your website day in and day out. When customers visit your store, they can always see these products. So basically, your Shopify store should be made up of a lot of retail products. It's what you intuitively think of as any product on your Shopify store. Generally, I aim for 2,000 pieces. I know that sounds high, but the higher this number is, the better, right? The higher it is, the less likely this product will be sold out on AliExpress. And if it is not sold out on AliExpress, that means you can keep selling it on your Shopify store. You don't have to edit it. You don't have to change it out with a different product. You could just leave that product on your store for a really long time. The bigger this number is, the longer that product will survive on your Shopify store without you needing to update it or change it. If you're utilizing a product from AliExpress for a free plus shipping campaign, generally you're going to want to look for even higher inventory. Why do I say this? Well, actually, let me back up a little bit. If you're not familiar with free plus shipping campaign, just look that up on Google. It's essentially you're running this Facebook ad campaign where you're selling a product for free for $0, but you charge a shipping that costs more than what it would cost to you to buy this product and ship it from AliExpress. So in the end, you hope that that customers see this product as free and they'll buy a bunch of it, even though the shipping is a bit high, shipping cost is a bit high, and you'll make a profit. So usually when you run a free plus shipping ad campaign, which is a pretty well-known term in the world of e-commerce and dropshipping, you hope that the free plus shipping ad campaign will go viral. And as a result, you will be able to sell hundreds, even thousands of that one singular product over and over and over again. And you hope that the ad campaign does really, really well and you make a bunch of money. That is why when you're looking for a product not for retail use, meaning not to leave it on your store at all times, but instead for a free plus shipping ad campaign, you want more of that product. So I generally aim for about 5,000 pieces or inventory if I'm looking for a product specifically for a free plus shipping campaign. Caution, inventory for a specific variant, color, size, etc. is not viewable. So if you go to a product on AliExpress and it says it has 2,000 pieces left and it comes in red, blue, and green, if you click red or you click blue, it's not going to tell you the individual inventory or pieces for that variant. Variant is a different color or different size or whatever. Just something you want to keep in mind, and I'll show you that during the walkthrough I'll do in just a bit. Here are a couple more guidelines or criteria you want to keep in mind when searching for products. The first is make sure the product has, let's say, 4.8 stars or more. Again, all these guidelines and criteria are meant to be guidelines, meaning they're flexible. These are things you want to aim for, but in certain cases, depending on your niche, depending on the product you want to drop ship, you may not be able to meet all of these criteria. But the more criteria you meet and the better your numbers look, the less challenges you may potentially run into later, which is a good thing. I also look for reviews for that product. I look for at least 200 reviews. That's actually a pretty high number, but again, guidelines, right? This is what you want to aim for. Sometimes it's going to be less, sometimes it's going to be a lot more. And I generally make sure to skim through the reviews. Why do I do that? I do that because you can learn a lot about a product from the reviews. A lot of the reviews are pretty thorough. They'll talk about, if it's let's say you're drop shipping a shirt and you look at the reviews on AliExpress, some of the reviews may sound like this. The shirt was the correct size, or the shirt came a bit large, the shirt came a bit small, the shirt had bad quality, the shirt was good quality. Those are things you can find out in the reviews. If you see a product that has really bad reviews and bad comments, then obviously it may be a product that you want to steer clear from or avoid. Orders, I generally look for products that have at least already 500 orders or more. Why do I do that? If a product is being sold on AliExpress and there's not a lot of orders for it, chances are you're not going to have a lot of reviews for it, obviously, is one. And number two, it makes the product a little bit more unstable in the sense that if no one buys it, there's a chance that the vendor that's selling that product may take that listing off of AliExpress because there's no one buying it. When products are selling 500 to 1,000 orders, chances are the vendor that's selling that product is not going to remove that product anytime soon because the product is selling so well. And the longer that product exists on AliExpress, the longer you can leave that product in your Shopify store without updating it or editing it or exchanging it for a different product. So again, it lowers the amount of work you have to do later. It lowers the amount of challenges you have to do later as well. In regards to shipping, generally I look for e-packet shipping because I live in the United States, and e-packet is a well-known and trustworthy shipping method, and it's reasonably priced. And the shipping times could be a bit slow, but for the price I'm getting it at, it's not a big deal. However, depending on your country that you are from, or selling to, I should say, or the product that you're looking at, you may have a cheaper or faster shipping method available in comparison to ePacket. So ePacket is not the end-all be-all. There are oftentimes other shipping methods that might be more preferred by you because it may be cheaper or faster. I have a lot of students that always ask me, how do I get around the long shipping times? Well, unfortunately with ePacket, you can't. You know, ePacket shipping is always going to take you a really long time. However, it's very, very affordable. There are other shippings out there that may be more fast, but they cost a lot more money. And you know, again, drop shipping is always about profit margins. The more you spend to drop ship a product out to a customer, the less money you're going to make. I rather choose a shipping method that is cheap but takes a little bit longer to get to the customer than to forfeit my profit margins by choosing a shipping method that is faster, that costs more. And generally, if you choose a shipping method that is cheaper but takes longer to get to the customer, the best way to deal with those situations as far as a customer service perspective is to be as transparent as you can be on your website. Make sure to write in the shipping times all over your website, all over the product descriptions, all over your FAQ sections, so that customers don't have, you know, the expectation that they're going to get the product in 3 to 4 business days. If they know it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks, they will be less likely to email you and ask you what the tracking number is or where's my product or get angry with you, okay? So for me, I use ePacket generally most of the time, and I make sure to be very transparent about the shipping times on my website to lower customer service requirements. With that said, let's do the walkthrough on AliExpress.com. So if you go to AliExpress.com, this is the homepage here. I'm just going to choose something at random, like iPhone cases. I know I've been referencing that a few times. So let's pretend I'm selling iPhone cases. And you know, I already know that this is my niche. I've decided that it's my niche. I like this niche. Now I'm trying to find iPhone cases to sell on my Shopify store. Let's assume that I'm trying to find an iPhone case that is going to be a retail product on my Shopify store, meaning it's always going to be existing on my Shopify store for any customer that can visit. It's not meant to be used as an ad campaign of any sort. It's just a product that is maintained on my store at all times. So I'm looking through the products. You can see a lot from just this homepage. There's a lot of details written here. For example, this one is 4.8 stars. Earlier I said look for 4.8 stars or higher, right? You could see the price here as well, obviously. You could see how many have been sold or ordered, right? Earlier I said you need 500 plus. So right here, it already meets 2 requirements, has 4.8 stars and 596 orders or sold. Now let's open it. Once you get in here, you can also learn a lot just in this area right here. So the first thing I'm going to look at is, again, 4.8 stars. If you open up, if you hover your mouse here on the drop down arrow, you could see how the stars are broken up. This product looks really, really good because there's no 3 stars, 2 stars, or 1 stars. Generally, even if someone has like a 4.8 stars total and you see a bunch of 1 stars, that means that every so often this product may have some big defect. So that's something to watch out for. So usually I like to see that there's 0% here, or at least close to 0% in the bottom 3 star levels. This has only 19 reviews. Earlier I said that you know, you want to aim for 200 plus reviews. So for me, I wouldn't use this product because although it has 622 orders, I said 500 plus orders, it doesn't have that many reviews. So because it doesn't have that many reviews, I don't know if the rating of 4.8 stars is actually true. So that's kind of my reasoning. I don't do this reasoning with every single product, obviously, but this is just kind of me walking through what I think about in my head when I'm looking for the perfect product to add to my store. I talked about inventory, right? So if you go back here, I said make sure for retail products you have at least 2,000 pieces, and for free plus shipping products you have 5,000 pieces. Over here you can see the pieces listed here. So pieces are inventory. So this has 599,000 inventory available. So there's a lot here, so that's really, really promising. That tells you that this product can last for a really, really, really long time on your Shopify store without needing to be updated or replaced by another, product. I also mentioned here that be cautious. Inventory for a specific variant, such as color or size, is not viewable. So here there's a lot of variances, right? The variances are for the different types of iPhones. Each iPhone case fits differently on different iPhone models. You also have a second variant, which is color. So you would choose your iPhone model and then you would choose your color. You'll notice that if I select this green one, this number doesn't change, right? If I select the gray one, the number doesn't change. So you don't really know what the inventory is for the specific variant. There's nothing you can do about that. That is why I aim for such high inventory, to make up for the fact that I can't see the individual inventories for the specific variances, colors, or materials. And lastly, I mentioned about reading the reviews. So if you go down here, you can see custom reviews. Here there's only 19, so you may not get much from it. These 19 reviews make up the 4.8 star rating. But for the most part, I would still look through them. I know I wouldn't choose this product, but if I were choosing this product, I would read the reviews. Like this one says, I love it, looks amazing, it fits perfect. If I was selling an iPhone case, I would want to see these words in the review. Fits perfect. It says also product quality is amazing. Product quality is always a big deal that you want to look for, especially if you're selling like clothes, which quality can vary so much. I do not see any difference in quality between this case and the ones for $15 from Amazon. So basically saying that this $1.98 iPhone case is just as good as some of the iPhone cases sold on Amazon, which is also a very promising type review to read. Then you would just skim the rest of them. Sometimes if you're lucky, and there's a lot of reviews, some of the customers will post they'll post a picture of the product that they received, which allows you insight into what the product looks like, which is kind of cool. So that is the guidelines I have for choosing products. I hope that was useful as a walkthrough. Please kind of keep these things in mind and consider these guidelines when you are looking for a good retail product to add to your Shopify store to dropship. These things will help you so much in avoiding major complications or just simple work later. The better the numbers look over here and over here, the less work you will have to do later down the road. All right. Sounds good. I'll talk to you guys on the next video. Hi guys, in this video I want to talk about guidelines to consider when selecting a vendor for a product you want to source from AliExpress. So first off, what is a vendor? When I use the word vendor, and this is not a formal word that's related to AliExpress, this is just the terminology that I choose to use. A vendor for me is similar to an eBay store on eBay or an Amazon store within Amazon. Amazon stores and eBay stores are essentially a person or a group of people that sell products on eBay or Amazon, right? The same thing with AliExpress. AliExpress, there are particular vendors or mini stores, if you will, that sell products. So when you are in the process of sourcing a product from AliExpress, I do not recommend finding a good vendor and then trying to choose a product within that vendor. Instead, find a good product first, a product that you really like, a product that meets all of the guidelines I've mentioned for products, and then from there backtrack and see if the vendor that's selling that product or that is attached to that product is a vendor that you think could be trustworthy or someone that you think would be dependable and not cause you major issues later. And when I say issues, I'm talking about this vendor is likely to be low in experience. The vendor may be a person that discontinues listings very often. If a vendor does that, that means if they discontinue a listing on AliExpress and that is a product that is on your Shopify store, well, that product is now obsolete on your store. So then you're gonna have to replace it, and that takes time and effort. So, you want vendors that are dependable, they know what they're doing, they have experience, and they're rated high. Chances are the more you can ensure that, the less issues you'll run into later down the road. So here are the guidelines I want to talk about. And again, these are guidelines. Guidelines are meant to be flexible. Depending on the product or niche that you're looking to source, you may not always be able to meet all these guidelines. For example, if you sell a very, very, very unique niche, which leads you to a product that isn't sold by many vendors on AliExpress, chances are there's only a few vendors that sell that product, and therefore you're not going to always be able to meet all of these great criteria, okay, these guidelines. But usually for products that are really, really popular, like let's say an iPhone case, if I was selling iPhone cases from AliExpress, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of vendors that sell iPhone cases. So just keep that in mind. So the first guideline is the 3 subcategories that a vendor can be rated on. And that is items as described, communication, and shipping speed. Generally, when I'm trying to find the perfect vendor after I've already found the perfect product, I will vet the vendor to see if they meet this guidelines. Generally, I aim for 4.8 and above for all 3 of these subcategories. If one is really low, like shipping speed, that's going to give me, that's going to make me a bit nervous, right? It's going to give me pause because dropshipping from AliExpress, which is from China, is already really long. So I don't want to have a shipping speed that is 3.0 stars, obviously. Communication, not as big of a deal because you don't have to communicate really with the vendor at all if you don't want to. It's just, obviously better communication is better than poor communication, but it's not a priority subcategory. Item as described. This is probably more important depending on the niche you are in. If you're selling iPhone cases, generally you're gonna get what you see on the listing. But if you're selling something like clothes, that is where this subcategory is gonna be probably more important because clothes can vary a lot from what is received by the customer versus what is described on the AliExpress listing. So if you're selling fashion or any products that can be very highly variable in their quality level, then this is a subcategory you want to consider and you want it to be high. You also want to look for vendors that have been at least selling for 2 years plus. Generally, I look for vendors that sell 3 or 4 years. What happens is, there's always going to be new and more vendors added to AliExpress. There's going to be newer and newer vendors every day, and you don't necessarily want to import a product from a vendor that doesn't have a lot of experience because the chances of you maybe running into an issue later could be higher. You also, of course, positive feedback, probably one of the most important guidelines for a vendor. I aim for a positive feedback of ideally 98% or higher. That is pretty high of an expectation, but again, the better these numbers look now, the less work and challenges you will run into later. All right, guys, let's do the walkthrough now. So for this walkthrough, I'm going to stick with the same AliExpress listing that I utilized as an example in the previous video where I talk about product guidelines. I'm going to stick with this one just to be succinct. So let's assume you're selling iPhone cases and you found this iPhone case here, this listing on AliExpress, and you really, really like it. It meets all of the guidelines for the product video that I showed you. It meets all of the guidelines I mentioned in there, so it's a really good product. Now what you want to do is you want to go and back check to see if the vendor is also someone you may want to work with. To do that, all you're going to do is you're going to scroll to the top, and up here at the top left next to AliExpress logo, you're going to see Leap Speed Store. Whatever's written here is the store's name or the vendor's name. A vendor, like I mentioned earlier, is similar to an AliExpress store, if you will. So this is the name of the vendor, and if you hover your mouse, or before I even do that, you'll see right here that the percent rating for this vendor. Earlier I mentioned you want a positive feedback, ideally 98% or above. This person is 97.7%. That's not so bad, obviously. If I really like this product and I saw 97.7%, I would probably, go through with importing this product because 97.7 is still very, very high. It's very close to 98%, obviously. The next 3 things I want to check is these 3 subcategories, right? Item as described, communication, and shipping speed. All aiming for 4.8 ideally or above. To find those values, you're going to just hover your mouse over these values right here, over 97.7%, or hover your mouse over the store name, and you're going to see some additional information. The three categories I mentioned on the slide are right here: item as described, communication, and shipping speed. It just so happens that this vendor is 4.8 and above for all three of these things. So this vendor matches this section, right? For the most part, it almost matches this section at 97.7%. So the only thing left to check is how long this seller or this vendor has been selling. I usually aim for 2 years and above, ideally 3 or 4 years and above. Let's go look. So what you'll see here is this store has been open since March of 2019. So that is under the 2-year mark. So this would make me kind of pause and think, do I really want to work with this vendor? This vendor has only been open for less than a year. So what I would do if I wasn't sure, right, it met all the other criteria, but it didn't meet this criteria. What I would do at this point is I would actually open the store. I would click on his name or her name, and this would bring me to the vendor's individual AliExpress store webpage or homepage. This is a storefront and homepage that this vendor has created themselves. Each store will have a homepage that looks very, very different. So every time you click on the store name, it's going to open up the homepage for that vendor, and each vendor has a very, very different looking homepage. I'll just let you guys know that up front, so you know, depending on what store you go to, it's going to look different and you're not surprised. So the reason I'm looking at the homepage is because this person has only been a store for less than 1 year, but they've matched every other criteria. So I'm going to look at the homepage to see, does this vendor look very professional? Are they selling lots of products? And so far it looks like they're selling a good amount of products. You know, I'll click phone cases and I'll read through this. I'll look for anything that will justify me working with this vendor. Right now I'm nervous about this vendor, but if I see that they have a lot of products on sale, then chances are maybe, you know, this value is not completely accurate, or maybe this is one of many stores that they have. After looking at the store very, very briefly, I would say that this is okay. I've seen some vendor homepages that are really, really, really good. They sell thousands of products. This vendor only has 3 drop-down categories. That is definitely not a lot. So I don't know if I would choose this vendor, to be honest. It would definitely be someone on my radar. I'd probably put it on the back burner and see if I could find a product that had a little bit of a better vendor. But if you were to choose this product and this vendor, I would still say that this is a pretty good vendor. There's definitely better ones out there, but you know, I'm just kind of trying to walk you through my thought process. If you started a store and you sold products from this vendor, I would probably say, you know, chances are you're not going to really run into any issues, but you never know, right? And again, that is why we have these guidelines. The guidelines are to minimize any potential challenges and complications you may have in the future, okay? It's not always going to be exact, but the more you follow the guidelines, the better likelihood of less challenges you will have. All right, guys, I hope that walkthrough was very, very helpful for you guys. I'll see you guys on the next video. Hi, guys. In this video, I want to talk about my guidelines surrounding the number of AliExpress vendors you want to aim for. When deciding on a niche, or even if you're at the stage of sourcing products from AliExpress, always consider the number of AliExpress vendors that you will need to source from to complete your entire Shopify store. So for example, let's say you want to sell women's fashion or clothing, and you want to aim for 20 products on your Shopify store that you want to sell and dropship. The question you want to ask is, can you get all 20 of those products from one single AliExpress vendor? Or will each product you find of those 20 be from a different vendor? Right? This is a question you want to ask yourself. And the reason you should ask yourself this question is because generally my recommendation is to always aim for less numbers of vendors on AliExpress than more. Less is always better than more in this situation. You may not always be able to fill out your entire Shopify store with one single vendor, but overall, you would want to aim for as small a number of vendors as possible, right? Less is always more. Why is this a recommendation I am giving you? The reason I'm recommending you to aim for less vendors is because, and this is kind of builds off my previous video where I talk about vendor guidelines. The reason you want less vendors is because sometimes, not always, it's possible that a vendor may close their store, or they may have issues with shipping, or they may discontinue an AliExpress listing for a product that you imported in your Shopify store. When this happens, or these things happen, it causes you a lot of issues, and it requires a lot of effort and time to fix these issues. If you have multiple vendors you work with, then there's a higher chance that you'll run into these random issues than if you work with less amount of vendors. There are certain implications with a small number of vendors as well. For example, if going back to the example earlier, if you have a fashion store and you have 20 products total on your store, and all 20 of those products are from one vendor, and that one vendor, for some reason shuts down or delays shipping or discontinues a bunch of AliExpress listings for products that you've imported to your Shopify store, then yes, you're going to have a major catastrophe. But overall, I would say that does not happen very often. And the chances of some of those things happening are much higher when you have a higher number of vendors. So, risk versus benefit, I would always aim for lower amount of vendors. I also say this because oftentimes, if I find one singular vendor that has products that can fulfill the entire niche that I want to sell in. For example, if I sell women's clothing and I find one really, really, really good vendor that sells all sorts of types of women's fashion, I may just source all of my products from that one vendor, and I might try to build a relationship with that one vendor. Let them know, hey, I'm selling lots of your products. I'm selling hundreds of your products. Can you give me a discount? Can you give me product photos? Can you give me any resources that might help me drop ship your products? One time I did that, and the vendor sent me a huge zip file of all of the products on their vendor's store, on their AliExpress vendor store. And all of these pictures had no logos, there's no writing on them. So these photos look really good on my website. Whereas the photos on the actual AliExpress listings had other logos on them or words, and it looked very unprofessional. So you never know what kind of benefit you may have if you reach out to your vendor. You may go your entire dropshipping career without talking to any vendor, but chances are at some point in time you will talk to them. And of course, talking to one vendor is a lot easier than talking to 20 or 30 vendors. What you don't want to do is have each one of your products be from a completely different vendor, because you could end up with a store with 100 vendors, and chances are you're going to run into some minor issues down the road here and there, and that's going to take a lot of your time and effort, and we want to avoid that as much as possible. I hope that made sense. If it doesn't, shoot me a question or shoot me an email. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. I wanted to point out to everyone that if you sell a lot of products from one single AliExpress vendor, it may be worth it to message them and ask them for their photo files of all their products. This, I would only go through the trouble of doing this if you intend on selling a lot of products from one vendor. All you would have to do is message them, let them know that, hey, I'm drop shipping a lot of your products. I'm very interested in them. I was wondering if you have your product files that you could share with me so that I can post them on my online store. This strategy is even more beneficial when you're selling products where every photo has the vendor's logo in it. So you can see the logo at the top says S Swibbles. That logo right there is very annoying, because if you were to use this photo on your online store, it's going to be in every photo, and people are going to be wondering why there's that logo on the pictures, because your store is not called Swibbles, right? So this strategy is even extra beneficial when you're selling products where all the photos have a logo on it and it's very annoying to edit, right? And again, to be able to message someone, all you're gonna do is go up here and then you can click contact now. But I would only do this if you are very invested in one AliExpress vendor. Let's say you find an AliExpress vendor that has really, really awesome products. Say you're selling swimsuits and this vendor has really awesome swimsuits. They have so many different varieties and it's at a reasonable cost. And you want to put all of the vendors' swimsuits on your store. Well, a good thing you can do is message them and ask for the photo file so that you don't have to edit all of these photos. You can't even edit this photo because it's not a white background. So if you cut out a corner of this photo, it would just be a white corner. So it's almost impossible to edit these photos, and that's why asking for photo files can be appropriate sometimes. I've definitely done it in the past. As I mentioned, having less AliExpress vendors, working with less AliExpress vendors is always better than working with a lot of them. So if you find one or two AliExpress vendors you really, really, really like and they have all the products that you like and want to sell, then feel free to reach out to them and ask for their support, ask them for the photos, ask them for a discount on prices and things like that. All right, I hope that was helpful. I'll see you on the next video. In this video, I want to talk about avoiding copyright infringement when choosing and sourcing your products. So what does it mean to infringe on another company or brand's copyright? That's when you sell a product that you don't have the rights to sell. For example, if you want to sell products that represent Star Wars or Marvel or Nike, you can't do it. You're going to infringe on their copyright. Nike owns the logo Nike swoosh. They've copyrighted that. All right, so you can't sell any products with the Nike swoosh on it. You can't sell any products with any Star Wars characters on it. You can't sell any products with Marvel characters on it, or Adidas, or any other brand that you can think of that has a logo or has characters that are recognized. So when you go to source products, say I'm selling iPhone cases, I can't sell iPhone cases that say Star Wars on them. I can't sell any of these products, okay guys? That would be infringing on Star Wars's copyright. So when you're sourcing products, please, please, please be smart. I know it may be tempting to find products that you recognize from movies or from other, other brands. Just be smart and don't do it. Try to find products that are unbranded. For example, if I was selling iPhone cases, I would sell all of these iPhone cases because none of these are branded. But I couldn't sell these two iPhone cases because this one is Mickey Mouse and that belongs to Disney, and this is Lilo and Stitch, which also belongs to Disney. But I might be able to sell these two iPhone cases because the only thing on these cases is a picture of donuts, and that's okay. And these pictures here are the pictures of a heart. Those are okay. All of these are okay, all right? All of these are okay as well. As long as you avoid any other brands that you may recognize or someone else will recognize, you'll be okay. All right, guys, see you on the next video. In this video, I want to talk about the multiple variants strategy. So again, variants are different options of the same product. So different colors, different sizes, different graphics, depends on what you're selling. But when you're selling products, multiple variants is one of my top secret but very, very simple strategies I follow when sourcing products. I always try to find products that have multiple variants. For whatever reason, on average, customers will be about 30 to 35% higher in their chance of purchasing a product when there are multiple variants. And I believe it's because people love having options. People love being able to choose between colors, between sizes, between different graphics or patterns. Like, people want to be able to choose. They don't want to be pigeonholed or forced to choose one product. They want to be able to choose between multiple products. So in general, when I do a free plus shipping marketing campaign or I choose a product, I try to consider products that have multiple variants. Not always, but for the most part, it's a great strategy. And on average, I have about 35% higher conversion rate for products with multiple variants. And this is why I discovered this strategy, because I just generally do a lot better when products have multiple variants. I'll give you an example of what a variant is. So for example, if I'm selling iPhone cases and I want to sell this product and I click on it, you can see that there's multiple variants for this iPhone case, right? It's a rubber iPhone case. It's very simple, but look, it has blue, it has red, it has yellow, it has gray, it has whatever this color is, black, another gray, a slight pink, another green or dark green. It fits all these different iPhone cases. So that's what I mean by multiple variants. People love having the option to choose between different sizes, different colors, and they're going to be more inclined to buy your product when they have the best option of multiple options. All right, guys? So please try that out, especially if you're doing a free plus shipping marketing strategy. Try out a product that has multiple variants. I guarantee that you're going to see a difference. It's just one of those very secret strategies I use that are extremely simple to implement, obviously. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you on the next video. Hey guys, so I've been getting a lot of questions about shipping methods and how there's no more e-packet shipping. So how do we get products from China to the United States or other main continents or countries quickly? And if you don't know what e-packet shipping is, it used to be the main way of shipping products really quickly and affordably from China all the way to the United States. You know, it would cost very cheap and it would only take anywhere between 10 and 20 days. And that seems kind of long for shipping, but that's actually relatively quick from China. However, after 2019, e-packet ended. There is no more e-packet shipping available. So shipping times have gone up and the cost of shipping has also gone up. So people are wondering, can we still do drop shipping from China to the United States or other main countries, you know, countries that are in Europe and, you know, other countries in North America? The answer is yes. And I don't want to cover it here because I'm going to cover the answer in the Dropified section of this course. Dropified is the app that we will be using to streamline everything related to our drop shipping from AliExpress. And there's a setting in the Dropified app that will allow you to filter products that are on AliExpress but are stored in warehouses in the United States and other main countries, so that when you drop ship that product, you're not going to need to drop ship it all the way from China and take, you know, 50, 60 days to get to your customers. You'll be able to drop ship it from AliExpress, but it will be drop shipping from some kind of warehouse in the United States, so that shipping times can be much shorter. And it's not only for the United States, it's other main countries as well. But again, I don't want to dive too much into it. I just want to touch base on this in case you were wondering how you choose shipping methods. We're going to talk about that in the Dropified section of this course. So I'll see you guys then. Hey guys, welcome to the Dropified section of this course. This is probably one of my favorite sections next to the Shopify section. This reason this is my favorite section is because we start actually setting up all of our drop shipping functions. How do we actually start importing products into our store? How do we edit those products? How do we fulfill those products? All those great things. This is where it kind of comes to life a little bit. And one of the apps that we're going to need to do drop shipping with our Shopify store is the Dropified app. So, you know, throughout this process of creating your Shopify store, I'm only going to recommend a couple of apps that are 100% necessary to drop ship. You know, some apps are more optional, meaning they may help you increase your revenue or increase your sales or, you know, enhance your marketing. But Dropified app is one of those necessary apps. You will not be able to drop ship the way I teach you in this course without the app. And I'll tell you up front, the app does come with a price, but the price is very cheap. I would say it's even cheaper than Shopify, and Shopify is already pretty cheap. But I'll get into that in just a second. And for the most part, there's not that many drop shipping applications out there. There's Oberlo, which is, you know, one of the original apps. It's free. It's really old, and the functioning is very, very limited and primitive. And that's why I don't use Oberlo. A lot of people use it just because it's free. It's cool to mess around with. But if you're choosing an app, I'm going to show you why you want to use Dropified. And it's really for two main reasons, right? Like other apps, it's going to Hey guys, welcome to the Dropified section of this course. This is where we're going to start really bringing our Shopify store to life, right? We know how to set up our Shopify. We know how to, you know, look for products for the most part. This is where we're going to start, developing our Shopify store specifically for functioning. Hey guys, welcome to the Dropified section of this course. This is probably one of my favorite sections sections, because this is where we're going to really bring our Shopify store to life, right? We're going to give our Shopify store all the necessary settings and functions specifically for dropshipping, right? Not your traditional e-commerce, but giving it functionality so that you can turn your Shopify store, your basic Shopify store, into a dropshipping machine. And to do this, we're going to need an app called Dropify, right? Throughout this course, I might recommend lots of different programs, apps, platforms, right? Some are optional. Some are just there to enhance your ability to sell, enhance your ability to market, enhance your revenue. But some apps are 100% necessary, and Dropify is one of those applications, right? Next to Shopify and next to Omnisend. Dropify is one of those apps that you will need to properly dropship with your Shopify store. And there's honestly not that many dropshipping apps out there. I would say the only main one that a lot of people know is called Oberlo. Oberlo is one of the older programs. It was free, so a lot of people knew about it, but it's very old, it's very primitive, and that is why I don't recommend it. And it doesn't do two things that Dropify does, and this is why it's so important that you have Dropify. And I'll get to those 2 points in just a second. But in general, what Dropify does is it's gonna allow our Shopify store to do all the things that's necessary to dropship. For example, it's going to allow us to find and source products from AliExpress more easily and streamline that process, right? Finding products that can naturally import into our Shopify store very quickly. The app will also allow us to edit those products before we import them into our Shopify store. And it will also allow us to streamline the fulfilling process once we get orders from customers, which is also very important. But any dropshipping app can do all three of these things, right? That's not the reason why I, recommend Dropify. The reason I recommend Dropify is because it provides two very, very, very important functions that no other dropshipping app provides. The first one, which is probably the most important one, is that Dropify allows you to filter products from AliExpress that are not stored in China. Instead, they are stored in warehouses in countries throughout the world, major countries like France, Poland, Germany, and of course the United States. And the reason this filter is so important is because after 2019, we no longer have e-packet shipping. E-packet used to be the main standard way of affordable and fast shipping from China all the way to the United States. Without e-packet shipping after 2019, shipping can take anywhere between 50 and 60 days, which obviously is not going to work out very well. But with Dropify, we can filter out products from AliExpress. They're actually stored in warehouses, for example, in the United States. And when we drop ship those products, they're going to drop ship much faster, and generally a little bit, they may be more expensive, they may be cheaper, but the shipping times for sure will generally be a lot faster, which is very, very necessary to have a successful dropshipping business so customers don't complain. And I believe this is the only app that does that, and that's one of the main reasons I have to use Dropify. Even if I hated this app, I would still have to use it just because of that very important function. But I actually love this app. So the other main reason that is also very, very important, more specifically when you get to higher volume orders, for example, you're doing 40, 50, 60 orders per day, is the fact that Dropify can actually auto-fulfill orders. You can turn this function on or off, but basically when an order comes in, it can check it, make sure everything's okay, and it will actually auto-fulfill it so you don't have to do it. On top of that, which kind of goes hand in hand, is that it can fulfill more than one product at once. And other apps, to my understanding, cannot do this. They just don't have the brain power to do this particular function. So in the future, when you're a little bit more successful, let's say you do 50 orders per day, right? And without this function, it may take you about 5 minutes to fulfill each order. 50 times 5 is, I think, 250 minutes. If you divide that by hours, that's about 4.16 hours. I already did the math, that's how I know. 4.16 hours. That means you would just be sitting, if you were really successful, you had 50 orders, it would take you 4.16 hours just to fulfill every day. That means you would just be sitting there pressing a button for 4 hours. That would obviously be a big waste of time, but with Dropify, you can do multiple orders at once and you can auto-fulfill them. So you don't really have to do that much work. So that's also very important, but more when you're more successful and you have a higher volume of orders. So with that said, that is why Dropify is kind of necessary. You know, I'm not trying to hard sell you on it. You're more than welcome to try other apps, but I guarantee you they will not have these two functions. I would say this particular one right here, finding products that are in major countries that are closer by to lower shipping times is probably the most important reason of why we have to use Dropify, and why I use it. To download this app, you're going to just click the resources, the attached resources, click that. There should be a drop down, click that link. It should bring you to a page that looks like this. This is my personal link. Then you could just click try it for free or get started now. After about 14 days of free trial, it will ask you to pay for a paid membership. Again, I would never recommend an app unless it was 100% necessary. And unfortunately, this is one of those necessary apps. It does come at a price, but it's not that expensive. It actually used to be $47 a month. They've actually created a new plan called the Build Plan, and it's $19 a month. And for whatever reason, Dropify always changes their pricing. So if you ever see this video and the pricings look different from me, just choose the lowest one that is not free. If you don't choose the $0 plan because it doesn't have all the necessary functions, at the same time, you don't have to use the most expensive plan either. If you're starting off, you're more than welcome to use a $19 plan. The only reason I would use the $47 plan, which is what I use, is because of kind of two main reasons. The first one is priority support. When I first created my Shopify store, I had a lot of questions for Dropify, and they have great customer service. They'll answer your question right on the spot if you message them in the app, which is great. And they will actually prioritize you if you have the $47 a month. The only other reason you would pay the $47 a month one is because you can have unlimited orders right here. Whereas if you use the $19 a month, you can only do 500 orders a month. But if you're starting off and you're not at 500 orders a month yet, then it's not that big of a deal. You could just use the $19 a month one. But I do hope that eventually all of you guys reach, you know, thousands of orders per month, because 500 orders is actually not that many orders when you're selling a lot of products that are not that expensive and your margins are very thin. You want to be selling in the thousands ideally. Also, when you choose your plan, you can choose it to pay by month, which is $19 a month, which is not that expensive. Obviously, that's what, like going to buy, you know, a meal for lunch, you know. But if you want to save money, you could pay annually. If you pay annually, it's going to be $228, and you're going to save $84 a month. Generally, for me, you know, I like to invest in myself, pay for the annual plan, and then just really focus on it. Give me a little bit of motivation, but that's really up to you. But again, the $19 a month is completely okay to start off with. And that's pretty much it. If you can't find the resource link for some reason, I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, you can just simply type in this link into your browser, bit.ly/Dropify, try free, all lowercase, and it will bring you to the exact same page that we were on earlier, which is, where'd it go? Which is this page here, okay? All right, guys, I hope that made sense, and I'm excited to jump into this section. I'll see you guys on the next video.
Now that you've installed Dropify using my free membership link, the next steps you need to take to utilize Dropify's comprehensive abilities is the two steps you see here. The first one is going to be to install Google Chrome web browser if you don't already have it. I would imagine that most of you out there are probably using Google Chrome because it's the #1 web browser that most people utilize. The other two web browsers are Internet Explorer and Mozilla Firefox, and Google Chrome is much better. So if you're not already using it, please download it. It's obviously free. To download it, all you're going to do is go to google.com and type in install Google Chrome, and click the first link here, and then scroll down and it should say download Chrome. I'm using a MacBook right now, so it says download Chrome for Mac. If you're using Windows, I think it should say download Chrome for Windows, okay? Once you've downloaded it, or the reason we need to download Google Chrome is because Dropify uses a Chrome extension as its way of importing products from AliExpress. So if you don't know what a Chrome extension is, think of it as a Chrome application. Extensions are like applications. They help with enhancing your Google Chrome experience, just like Shopify apps help with improving and enhancing your Shopify experience. So they're kind of like applications, but for Google Chrome web browser. And I'll show you what I mean by it right now. So imagine I currently have the Google Chrome Dropify extension already downloaded. And if you don't know where to download it, just go to your Dropify dashboard, which is right here, click Get Started, and then it should be the very first step, install Chrome extension, and then just click this button that says install extension. It'll bring you to another page, and all you have to do is click install. Mine's already installed, so as you can see, when I'm on AliExpress and I'm searching for a product I want to import, you'll notice that there's a green box around all of my products and this kind of green button. The reason you see that is because I have an extension, I have the Dropify extension installed on my Google Chrome web browser. And you can see that here at the top. You see this little green button here? That tells you that I have the Dropify extension already installed. So let's assume that I'm going to import a product. Like, let's say I really like this product here and I want to import it. You'll see now that I can slide my mouse up here, hover over the extension button, click it, and you'll see that the product is, all the information on the product is right here, and I can click send to my store or save for later editing. And that is exactly why you need the extension, because the extension helps you import all of the product information on AliExpress, the pricing, the pictures, the descriptions, the specifications. It imports all of that to your Dropify dashboard. It will be sent here to the Save Product section. So that is why you need Google Chrome as your web browser, and then you need to download and install the Dropify Chrome extension. It's very, very easy. It should take you less than 2 minutes. All right, and really the reason you have that is to help you with importing more easily and seamlessly from AliExpress to the Dropify application. All right, see you on the next video. In this video, I want to do a very, very quick walkthrough of Dropify's dashboard so that we can get familiar with the whole platform and application. Quick tip, this probably goes without say, but the more you explore the dashboard, the more abilities and benefits you'll find on this platform, okay? There's a lot going on here, and it's going to take a little bit for you to get used to, but there's a lot of stuff, so keep exploring every day. Don't be afraid to click through all these links, but I'm going to give you a head start right now by doing a walkthrough. So as of right now, I have a paid membership. I have the Builder plan on this current account, but on my real Shopify stores, I use the Premier plan. So if you can afford it, I would recommend the Premier plan just because it has a lot of additional benefits. But I installed the Builder plan just to create these videos because this is not an actual Dropify account that I use. So when you get to your dashboard, it should look something like this. And I want to apologize in advance. If you, by the time you watch this video, if your dashboard looks a little bit different, that's probably because Dropify is always updating their application and platform. They are always adding in new functions. They're always moving links around. This dashboard looked completely different 10 months ago. So I apologize in advance if by the time you see this video, if your dashboard looks a little bit different. I hope you understand why. But for the most part, I think this walkthrough should still help you no matter what. So first off, this is my name, obviously. You click Manage Account, which is just your personal settings. If you click Get Started, which is kind of like the home page, it's going to tell you the Shopify store that you currently have linked to your Dropify account. If you installed this application, if you use my link to install this application, please go back and make sure that you link your Shopify store to this Dropify account if it isn't already connected, okay? It should be connected, but sometimes it isn't depending on how you install Dropify. So if you don't see your Shopify store name here, link your Shopify store to Dropify so that your Shopify and Dropify are connected, which is going to be very important. Here are the settings. I'm going to do a very detailed walkthrough of every setting that I utilize and how you should set it up, but I just wanted to show it to you. If you click Stores, again, it brings you back to the Get Started page. Again, this is my Shopify store name right here. This is the product section. Whenever you import a product initially, it will end up in the Save Product section. Right now, I have no products imported yet. But once I import some products from AliExpress, they'll go here first as a queue, and then you'll edit them one by one and then slowly push them over to your Shopify dashboard. once a product is pushed over to your Shopify dashboard, meaning it's imported from Dropify to Shopify, it's going to go from non-connected to the connected tab. Non-connected means that it's still sitting in the Dropify app and it's not yet on Shopify. But once your product gets pushed from Dropify to your Shopify dashboard, it's going to go from non-connected to connected. Connected means that your product is connected on Shopify and Dropified. And then this is just my store. And if you're using multiple platforms, like let's say you're using Shopify, but you have a second store that's using WooCommerce, that additional store will be shown right here, your second store. But again, you're going to need a Premier plan to have more than one store. That's one of the reasons why I have a Premier plan. Boards. Boards are just a way of organizing your products. Think of them kind of like Shopify collections. At least for myself, I generally create boards that also match up with my Shopify collection. So if I go to Shopify right now and I go to my collections, at least in this example account, I have 4 collections: unicorns, trending, foodie, and rubber. And that's going to match up with my boards. You don't have to do it that way, but for me, that's very intuitive, so I do it that way. Alerts is something that you'll go to quite often as well. This will tell you when products run out of inventory. Maybe you have a product that is removed from AliExpress, a product that has expired, a product that needs to have a fulfillment or an order filled. So you're going to look at alerts definitely on a daily basis. US products, I don't really use this at all. These are just places that you can source products from. I don't use them because I source all my products from AliExpress, because that's just how I dropship. But if you want, you can explore this tab. Import products. So this is definitely a link that you probably won't go to very often. It's really a link just to advertise that Dropify can import products not only from AliExpress but also from eBay and a lot of these other websites. But I wouldn't recommend using these other websites. I would recommend using AliExpress, obviously, because that's what I'm teaching you guys. At the most, maybe use eBay because it might work as well. But I know Dropify was meant for AliExpress, so it's going to work the best if you drop ship from AliExpress. But for the most part, you're not going to really click this link ever. You may not use this link either. Orders, you're going to place orders. Placing orders means to fulfill an order. So you will go to this link. You'll see all your orders and you can fulfill them one by one, or you can auto-fulfill them. Tracking is just going to keep track of all the tracking numbers and where your products are, when have they been shipped out by your AliExpress vendor, and then you're going to make sure to send the tracking number to your customer. And then for the most part, business, you're not really going to use these tabs very often, if at all. So profit dashboard, this is actually a additional benefit if you have the Premier plan, but I use the profit dashboard a lot and I think it's really useful. But if you only pay for the builder plan, you're not going to have the profit dashboard, and it's okay if you don't. I think you'll be fine without it. You can always calculate your revenue and profits on your own. Marketing feeds, you don't really need, or I'll just go through it. Marketing feeds. So I know most of you are probably not familiar with a Facebook dynamic product ad, but they are a type of ad that you can create on Facebook so that whenever someone looks at a product on your store or adds that product to a shopping cart, you can automatically send a retargeted Facebook ad to that customer. And you do that by using Facebook dynamic product ads. The word dynamic is because these ads are dynamic to a particular product. That means they will create ads specifically for products automatically. And to set those up, you can use this Facebook feed because you need a catalog feed of some sort of all your products to utilize this type of ad. It's a bit complex, but I'll probably cover it in the Facebook advertising section of this course. Sub-users, I believe the builder plan only has one sub-user, but sub-users are essentially other people, like say you have an assistant, you can add them in here so that they can use this dashboard without, logging in with your credentials. Call Flex, we're not going to worry about that, or Tube Hunt. I'm going to go to Tools. These are just some tools that you may not have known that Dropify can do. I talked a little bit about CAPTCHA Solver. Again, CAPTCHA solvers are a way of you verifying that you're a human when you go to check out an order on AliExpress. Sometimes AliExpress will ask you to verify yourself as a human. But guess what? Dropify can do this automatically for you, which will increase the speed of your fulfillment process, and it will act as a human for you. Importing reviews from AliExpress, I'm going to talk about an application that I use that will do that for you, and image editors. So all these things are, kind of intuitive. You don't have to really worry about them. Dropify also has an academy that you can sign up for where they will do courses to teach you about Dropify. They also have video training. I think I talked a little bit about that, but they have their own training videos. So anything that you don't learn through my videos, you can definitely go to the video training section and they will review in extra detail. You can get support. Like I mentioned before, the support on Dropify is excellent. All you have to do is click this button here, and then you can talk to people. As you can see, I've been talking to people as well. And look, this person messaged me 12 minutes ago. That's how fast they respond to conversations. You can have a full-on back and forth conversation, which is really great. They have the best support I've ever seen, really. And then here's what's new. So whenever they make an edit or an update to this application and platform, or they add a new functionality, generally it'll show up right here, or they'll message you the update right here. So that is the dashboard. Again, one of the most important things you have to do at the very beginning is connect your Shopify store to Dropify. They have to be connected. And you'll know that your Shopify store is connected because you'll see your Shopify store name right here. This is my Shopify store name right now. It's my example store that I've been utilizing to create these videos. And you'll see that it shows up right here, meaning my Shopify store is connected to Dropify. After that, also ensure that you have your Google Chrome extension installed, and then you can start importing products. Most of the time you'll be utilizing these two links when you start importing products, but I'll dive into that in more detail in the follow-up videos. Oh, also I forgot to add, you don't really need to worry about step 2 and 3. You can do those steps and it'll still say that it hasn't completed yet. For example, I imported a product earlier and I saved it, and this still looks like it's not complete. So don't really worry about step 2 and 3. We're going to be able to do those steps regardless. You don't have to click these buttons if you don't want to. But besides that, I hope that was helpful as far as reviewing the overall dashboard. But again, as you dive into it more, you're going to learn more about Dropify. So I do encourage you to explore the dashboard on your own.